So we're growing, fruits and vegetables. We raising chickens. That you can do that these days.
Yes.
We couldn't do that when we was young.
Before we even get started, we laughed a little bit about the fact that I am a city girl, and so my questions may seem really, really elementary, but please don't count it to me just trying to have this fabulous interview. I really don't know what got you guys into homesteading. No, let me rewind. What is homesteading? Let's start there.
It's pretty much trying to be more self-sufficient in your life.
Okay.
Growing more, being less relying on grocery stores and outside world for daily life.
Nice.
So we're not fully self-sufficient, so we are doing our best.
Y'all in middle school. You said it.
Yeah, that's right. There you
You're
go.
in middle school.
And we learn it for other people.
So that's homesteading. Yes. Are homesteaders gardeners, or are you a gardener that homesteads? Or two different things?
Yeah, we are gardeners that are leaning towards homesteading, because homesteading is when you basically self-sufficient.
Wow.
So we are working our way to.
So we're growing, fruits and vegetables. We're raising chickens for meat and for eggs.
Nice.
So and we are doing all this in the subdivision.
So, that's my next question. That was one of my questions. I can't wait to get to my question. Okay, so gardening, homestead. So is homesteading the same thing as being a minimalist? Where people,
I guess you could say that.
You know what I mean?
You could say that.
Okay. Are you guys interested? This is a whole random thought question. Are you guys interested in tiny home living? Would you be able to do that?
Yes.
I would love to actually be able to do this
for
a living,
All free.
So, I mean, The more we do it, the more we actually get interested in actually doing it. So.
I love it. I'm learning something already. So there is a difference, but you can be one that's doing something. Plus, there's growth to this. Like, you don't have to just jump in. So we have viewers that's watching and they're like, oh, I live in an apartment. I live in a city. There's no way I can begin to think about homesteading. So take us through that journey as far as, if someone has a dream to homestead, to live in a tiny home or whatever, what are some things? Okay, because what I have is different types of living situations. I'm in an apartment. What are some little things that I can do to make that change, to make a difference financially and just for the planet?
Container crops. They can start in containers. Making your own soaps and lotion and deodorant.
Yeah, they got grow lights. If you don't have access to the outside, I mean, you can set up grow lights, and there are people doing it all over the place and growing a lot.
Yeah.
If you're liking my channel, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell right now. Do it. Okay, so the containers. What about, so now you're in a subdivision. People that are in subdivisions, they can do the same thing. They probably can do a little bit more. Do you find that people, so like we have an HOA, is that something where you've heard in your sphere, your group, however you want to say it, are people having a hard time with stuff like that?
In HOAs.
In the HOAs. Okay. HOAs. Listen.
Somebody did say that they had chickens in the HOA, but people don't realize how clean and quiet chickens really are.
Oh. So the whole stereotype of them always... go ahead.
No, they're pretty easy to take care of. We started not even a year ago with the chickens, and we have no problems. We even processed our first group of chickens, not too long ago. And
really?
Yeah. And we're both people that grew up in a city.
So you both grew up in the city.
It's not something that not anybody could just do. I mean, you could just go out there and look up some YouTube videos and get out there and get started.
Nice. So urban living. Do you know any urban people that are urban? So like when we lived in Seattle, well, look, talking chickens before I get to that. I
Mhm.
noticed maybe about 5 years ago, this whole chicken craze. Everybody wants chickens and goats. What is the positive side of that? And do you see a negative side of something being trendy that I'm going to do this?
I don't see any negative.
Okay.
When we talk meat birds, I was afraid, but that's because I'm afraid. But after we did meat birds and we have layers, it's to me it's no negatives.
Nice. Okay.
You get to know what you're taking into your body because you know what you feed your animals.
Yep.
So I mean,
We raise
it's a
our
win-win.
meat birds, so we know the chicken we eat.
Wow. And so meat bird is basically the bird that you actually are going to eat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so our
Right.
meat birds we get them at about 2 or 3 days old, and at 8 weeks we process them out.
they actually
Wow.
bred just for that.
Yeah,
And when you say process them out, that's getting them ready to go in the
for the
deep
freezer.
fryer.
Yep, we put
Okay.
them in the
Okay.
freezer. Took us about 3 hours to get them from the cage to the freezer.
Wow. So what was that like your first time ever doing that? Because as far as mentally having to do that, what was what was
When
that
I
like?
say, you hear people say, they run around like a chicken with their head cut off.
Yes.
That is a true statement, a
Yeah.
very true statement. When it was it for the we put them in a killing in a cone.
Okay.
Be careful. So we put him in a cone, and you put him in head first, so his head would stick out the bottom, and that's where he would put him to sleep.
Really?
And a few seconds they would pass out, and that was it. So they don't suffer, but
Right.
they jump around and they would jump out of the cone.
And Bobby, you did that?
Yes.
Yeah,
There's I ain't had no problem with it. You know, I'm a hunter.
Right.
So that's nothing new to me. The whole thing was to convince her that she would be okay with it. So, you
Wow.
know, once we got started, I realized that she was gonna be good. So we
Yeah.
continued on.
Good. So we have a
Yeah.
question from Ruby King. She says, "Could you live off the grid?"
hey Ruby, yes.
I definitely could, and I would
Yes.
drag her along with me.
You know, he is the hunter. I could go
Okay.
fishing. I mean, I would go hunting too. You know, I would love to be out there in the woods. I've been
Yes.
hunting a couple
Yes.
times,
Yes.
but he is the hunter. So if he can get it, I can cook it. So we'll be
Period.
okay on bread.
Exactly.
And the thing is, you know, is the idea of living off grid is great, but I wouldn't want to live somewhere on a mountain or
Okay.
where I can't get to civilization if I needed to, you know,
Got you.
quick, fast, and hurry. So,
That was
but I
my
would love to
question.
actually just be somewhere where I'm self-sufficient, you know,
Okay.
power, food, and be able to live that way.
You know, Trash Can Waves. He said, "Y'all make the perfect assassins." Man.
Yes.
That was my next question. I know where you live at. Are you living in? Is that your place where you would love to settle down, or are you thinking Alaska or West Coast, East Coast? Like, is this where you would settle down?
I would have to be near the ocean. We love the beach,
Yeah.
Yes.
so we have to be. And I
No
don't like
snow.
snow.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna go to the island together. No snow and near the ocean.
Yeah.
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 A lot of beach.
Okay, okay. So we were talking a little bit about different areas. So we mentioned the apartment. We talked about, homes with the HOA and not the HOA. Because I think Quita and I were talking about water collection being illegal in certain places and stuff like that. But someone could be watching and they're like, "Well, I live in an apartment in the city." Well, one thing I do know is people they do have the rooftop gardens.
Mhm.
Balcony.
What are some other things that they could do to just begin the process?
Um, like he said, grow lights. You know, when it snows, some
Oh,
plants can't stand the cold or the snow. So you bring it inside and you put grow lights up, and that's just like it being out in the sun and heat all year
wow.
round.
Nice.
And this community, this garden community is excellent.
Yes.
You can find out anything you need to know from these creators. We got them all over.
Yes.
Any place you can think of, they're there. And they live in a whole bunch of different ways, and you can learn exactly how to do whatever it is you need to do. And that's
what I love about your channel, because I've caught a couple of the lives where the people lived overseas in different, like y'all have people from around the world showing us their garden, and this was me, or their property. I was all in. So I just want to say shouts out to you guys for making that connection, because it is interesting for somebody like me and your viewers, where we're like, oh, we get to see different things. It gives us a world view. A lot of times Americans just think America and that's it. All right, random questions with Melissa. First one stems from our happy hour the other night. Is cereal soup?
Is cereal soup?
I don't eat cereal.
But is it soup?
Cereal has always just been cereal to me.
He's like, no.
I think if you let it sit long enough, it probably
it will turn into soup, but it's not soup. It's not soup.
I
wouldn't think so.
It's an incorporation of a bunch of ingredients.
Yes.
A taste.
And it need to be warm.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be warm. All soups aren't warm.
Soup don't have to be warm.
Nope.
Oh,
But cereal and milk, they're just two different tastes.
Yes.
But you actually just put them together to eat them. So I wouldn't consider it a soup.
Exactly. My almost 30-year-old said, oh, it's soup. And I'm like, it's not. So then the 16-year-old, as a true 16-year-old, she gets on the phone and she starts Googling, and she's like, no, according to the definition, it is not soup, because they said it's a whole mixture of stuff that, made from fruit. It was very specific with fruits and vegetables and stuff like that.
Don't you love that you can do that these days?
Yes.
We couldn't do that when we was young.
Between that and when they're in school and something's going on, nothing major or whatever, it's just it's immediate. Like, hey, can I can I stop by so-and-so before I drive home? Yeah, I love that. It's totally different time we're living in. The Intentional Millionaire says, do you grow jackfruit? I love jackfruit.
We are growing jackfruit.
Yeah, we are.